etc. So that because we wanted to inspire them the importance and the potential of the Muslim travel segment, so that they can actually make some changes in order to accommodate our Muslim friends.
Welcome to crTALKS. In this series of travel readiness conversations, I'll be talking to experts, thought leaders, entrepreneurs, key stakeholders on how destinations and businesses are getting ready to resume tourism after COVID-19. Thanks for watching. I'm Fazal, your host for today. Raymond, thanks for your time. Thanks for joining our call today.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Hong Kong tourism, not just its challenges didn't start with COVID. Its challenges started almost last year with
Exactly.
some issues in the region. So tell us how has Hong Kong been coping? It has been a long time. I mean, COVID has now raised the level of challenges to another level. But it has been a long time that Hong Kong has been.
Absolutely. Basically, this unprecedented challenge has the biggest hit, not only like global tourism, but across all economic sectors. But apparently, tourism is one of the biggest hit. And for Hong Kong, as you mentioned, I mean, unfortunately, Hong Kong has been double impacted since June 2019 because of the social unrest. So basically, a lot of our industry partners in Hong Kong have been suffering for over a year already. And to be very honest with you, I mean, to maintain the business in Hong Kong is not easy at all, mainly because of the overhead cost in Hong Kong is relatively higher than a lot of other countries. So no matter when you don't have regular income on a monthly basis, basically it's pretty difficult for them to survive by paying off all the bills every single month. So starting from and then since the pandemic started in January, at the end of January, Hong Kong government actually has responded quite quickly. I mean, so far from February to September, as of now, the government has already rolled out 3 different kind of funding to support the local industry. The funding is not only supporting the tourism industry, but across all different kind of industries in Hong Kong.
Right.
But for tourism alone, I mean, we have definitely, a huge funding to support the airlines, because there are 4 Hong Kong-based airlines in Hong Kong, and then the attractions, the travel agents in Hong Kong, and especially the tour guides as well, because the tour guides are doing a lot without business. And that is actually a short-term support, because honestly, the funding might only be able to support for a few months. But in the long run, I think Hong Kong has been also discussing how we can actually support the industry in the longer run. So back in June, when the situation was actually better in Hong Kong at that time, we already rolled out a local campaign at that time called Holiday at Hong Kong. So we have consolidated with a lot of offers from different partners to support the local industry. However, because unfortunately, because there was a 3rd wave in Hong Kong starting from July, so the campaign was suspended for a while. So and then because after the 3rd wave, there was actually a stricter social distancing measures in Hong Kong. So therefore, the local campaign has to be paused for a while. And then now, I think as I mentioned, because we have a 3rd wave starting from July, but now the situation has been stabilized already. The local community case every day actually has been reduced to a single digit. So I think the government has actually responded with a lot of stricter social distancing measures, a lot of different initiatives in order to basically to try to control the spread of the virus, and I think it has been quite successful. And so now the situation has been stabilized. The theme parks, including the attractions and the theme parks, are going to be opening gradually. So Ocean Park has reopened last week, and then Hong Kong Disneyland just announced that they are going to reopen on September 25th, 2 days later. Apparently, it's going to be a different. It's going to be quite different. Because for now, for the locals in Hong Kong, if you have to go to Ocean Park and Disneyland, you have to pre-register online first, because they might have city control, which I think is good for now. Because right now, of course, we want to maintain a certain level of business, but at the same time, I think hygiene standard and safety is really more important than before. And one more thing that we have done in the last 2 months, I think Hong Kong has actually rolled out an initiative of offering free testing for all all Hong Kong residents, starting from
Residents,
September.
okay.
Yes, starting from September the 1st for a 2 week. So in 14 days, there were over 1.8 million residents in Hong Kong have been tested.
Right.
So I think this is going to help us to, I mean, this is going to help Hong Kong in the future, because basically, Hong Kong has only a population of 7.5 million. So far, as of yesterday, I think over 3.3 million people in Hong Kong have been tested already.
Been tested,
So I have to say the testing rate is quite high. It's getting close to 50% of the people.
50% already. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, because that will actually like help the city, I mean, to try to control the spread, because like even with that 1.8 million testing, I think we have found about like 30 to 40 cases from that
Right.
1.8 million testing, and that's why I think that is going to help that is going to help Hong Kong in order to control the spread.
Right.
Yeah. And last but not least is
yeah.
yeah,
Go
and
ahead.
last but not least, we are going to actually like plan for the future as well. I mean, like right now, I think like while we are still doing all these like control works, we have been like discussing about how we are going to roll out different kind of promotions when borders are reopened. So that's why the government has been like talking to some of the countries for travel bubble arrangement, which is I think is a good news for us, and hopefully something can
Yes.
actually come up like really soon. So while we are also planning for our recovery promotions, we are also like planning for our a rebranding exercise, probably like starting from next year.
Oh, that's interesting. I think there are a few countries trying to also come up with rebranding exercises.
Yeah,
Let's talk
because
a little bit.
new
Yeah.
norm, I think.
Yes. I think Thailand also tried some new branding. I'm not sure where they are with their new branding, but they did try with the new tagline as well.
Yeah,
Let's talk a little. I mean, I think I want to talk about the travel bubble, but before that, I think we'll talk about. So I understand that Hong Kong is resuming their holiday at home campaign.
right.
Everybody wants to boost the domestic tourism, of course. That's easier,
Yeah,
probably the easiest to start. So if you can, sort of tell us what actually the holiday at home program is all about.
sure. Well, as I mentioned, we started the holiday at home program in June. We basically consolidated over 11,000 offers. I mean, ranging from hotels, including
Okay.
staycation. People in Hong Kong, I mean, don't used to go for staycation, but now, I mean, because of the offer, I mean, people will actually bring their families to experience the different
Right.
staycation offers. And then the restaurants and F&B, the local tours, attractions as well, and of course the shopping malls. Because I mean, we hope to leverage on the local campaign to boost local consumption. I mean, across
Yeah.
all different sectors. Because besides hotels, attractions, definitely like shopping and eating is really important elements in Hong Kong. So I
True.
think we also want to leverage on the program to support the restaurants, to support the F&B business, and then of course the shopping, because for now we do not have any tourists. So shopping is like we have to rely on the
Of
the
course.
locals to spend money to support the business. So the program has been actually like unfortunately suspended since July because of the third wave. So that actually we want to like keep everybody at home, don't go out so much in order to control the spread. And as I mentioned, because the situation now is getting so much better, so we're now planning to reactivate the whole program. So
Okay.
yeah, because besides like getting all these offers from our partners, we actually like spending some funding or some budget to promote the whole campaign.
Promote it.
We can
Okay.
actually try to boost traffic into the website, into like to get more people in Hong Kong to aware of the program, so that they can actually support the local businesses as well.
Right. So this campaign is going to get started soon, or is it
Yeah,
sometime?
pretty soon. Because as I said, the situation is now better, so we are now like planning to see how is actually the best way to reactivate the whole program.
Right. Okay. So that's on the domestic front, and on the across the border front. So we have to, you mentioned the travel bubbles with
Mm,
11 countries, and I think specifically in this part of the world, Southeast Asia,
mm,
you have Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, which is part of that travel
right.
bubble. So how is that progressing?
Well, actually, the travel bubble arrangement that is actually one of the stage that we have been like really aiming at, because I mean we have to like really uh, make ourselves to believe that basically the international borders won't be open so soon. And I think a lot of countries won't even open the board, won't even open their borders within 2020. So
True.
even like Malaysia has already like the PM,
Mentioned that.
they mentioned that they are not going to open in 2020. So for that, actually, Hong Kong has been discussing the travel bubble arrangement with a lot of countries before, but because of the third wave, such I mean that discussion has been suspended, and now we kind of like resume the negotiation with 11 countries. And I'm happy that I mean among that 11 countries, 4 of them are actually within the Southeast Asia region,
Hmm.
including
Hmm.
Malaysia and Vietnam, because of the better situation in these 4 countries. And but however, I also understand that because a lot of countries they have a lot of concerns because by setting up the travel bubble arrangement, a lot of like protocol and mechanism has to be like mutually agreed,
Yes,
which is not
great. Yeah,
easy.
yeah.
Because right now, I think like some countries in Europe they have started like sort of like travel bubble arrangement, but
Hmm.
I think the situation is kind of different from us in Asia. So
True.
therefore, like even for example, Thailand, they have been doing pretty well in terms of the COVID-19, but they have a lot of concerns because I think none of the country wanted to, I mean, wanted to take the very high risk of getting a lot of like new
True.
imported cases,
True.
which has, I think, previously, I think some countries have experienced that the imported cases are actually getting higher and higher. So therefore,
True.
I think like the government is still like working day and night in order to discuss how we can actually like implement different kind of like mechanism or protocols in both
Right.
ends so that we can actually control the spread because yes we are all like I mean it's something that we cannot rush to be frank
True. Absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
we all wanted to support the business but at the same time we all wanted to be like our city, our destinations to be safe. So for now, the discussion is still going on, and I think um, the government has mentioned before, Japan and Thailand has been like these 2 countries are in a more in-depth discussions, and then for
Okay.
the other 3, including Singapore, I think the Singapore Consulate General in Hong Kong is like very welcoming for the discussion of travel bubble
Right.
arrangement between Hong Kong and Singapore. And
Right.
in person, of course, I hope you can come through so I can go back to Hong Kong as well. And
Yes.
yeah, so we'll see how it goes. But definitely we are like really aiming at the travel bubble arrangement for the time being.
Right. So I think that's yeah. I think it's a difficult thing, and it needs a lot of work. So what I understand, of course, is but this has not stopped you from starting some campaigns to keep these destinations in mind in this part of the world as well. So maybe you
Mm.
could explain to us,
So
while we are discussing, how are you keeping the destination in the mind of the travelers? Yeah.
Lily, I think like I mean like, during the pandemic, I mean like uh for while people cannot travel, I think I mean like a lot of destinations wanted to keep engaging with
Right.
their visitors, mainly because
Right.
like every single destinations wanted to maintain their presence, and so same
Yeah.
as Hong Kong. Hong Kong, I think it's not a stranger to Southeast Asian travelers, and
True.
definitely, I mean, like because like if you're talking about 20 years ago, everybody was like, oh yeah, I wanted to go to Hong Kong, and Hong Kong has been a key destination in this region since long time
True.
ago. Yeah, I
True.
mean, unlike our friendly competitors, like for example Japan, Korea, or even Taiwan, I mean, they have like, I mean, they are
True.
considered like more newer I
You
mean,
are
a new player in
definitely.
this region. So for Hong Kong, a lot of people in this region have a lot of like great memories. They have like strong
Mhm.
connection with Hong Kong. So during this
Mhm.
time, we actually rolled out an engagement program called 100 Reasons to Miss Hong Kong, because
Yeah.
I'm sure like a lot of people basically they kind of like miss different elements of Hong Kong, including food, as simple as a tram ride or a star ferry ride, or even to the
Right.
attraction, or even to meeting the Mickey Mouse in Disneyland. I mean, there are a lot of like small memories, small things that
True.
people
True.
actually miss. I mean, you don't.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be like a big thing. I mean, as simple as
True.
like oh, having the egg tart in Hong Kong. I mean, that could be a
Right.
very key memory for them as well. So during this time, I mean, like when people cannot visit Hong Kong, we wanted to like trigger their memories as well. So we wanted to see like
Right.
okay, and we are getting prepared that one day when the borders reopen, so that we can actually welcome back again.
We will definitely those days. Now you find them here. We always miss dim sum. You have to go to Hong Kong.
Absolutely, absolutely. and actually, besides like engaging with our consumers, our KOL partners or our media partners, we are also engaging with our trade partners as well. Mainly because, I mean, to be frank, our trade partners, our overseas travel agents here in Southeast Asia, they have been suffering a lot as well. A lot of them are still working from home. So we are trying to like continue to engage them, and because we wanted to show our support as well.
So yeah, I think yeah, that's great. So I think I think that the 100 reasons makes a lot more sense. There are so many small things that you probably miss in Hong Kong rather than something yeah.
Yeah.
So in that I understand also you're doing some Malaysia specific campaign coming up soon. Maybe you could explain a little
Sure.
bit. Yeah.
We're actually like planning. Okay, after like we have launched the 100 Reasons of Missing Hong Kong 2 months ago. In fact, the response was actually very, very positive. I think a lot of people basically really miss Hong Kong, and because I think it's actually a fun way, I mean, to engage with our consumers or our visitors. It's like very small things, but it's just like, I mean, to bring back the memories. So we are planning for our phase 2 promotions in the market, so that we are going to. Last time we triggered the memories to bring, I mean, like with 100 Reasons to Miss Hong Kong, and now we are trying to bring Hong Kong getting closer to them. So we are actually like planning to work with different partners in different countries. For example, in Malaysia or in Indonesia, that we are going to like have some different kind of like partnership promotions, so that we can actually bring Hong Kong elements, I mean, closer to them. Yeah.
So is there a list somewhere, the 100 reasons that we could go and have a look?
Well, actually, we don't really have a list for now. I mean, like, but we are actually like working on different angles. I think that is actually more important. Like, for example, even within the food element, that you might actually have a lot of like different reasons already.
Absolutely, absolutely. So talking about the food, I think a lot of people are not sort of aware in this part of the world, at least, about the Muslim friendliness of the food in Hong Kong, And I know Hong Kong has been working on this side of the story for some time now. Maybe if you can give us an update on what Hong Kong has been doing the last couple of years before all this happened, and what your future plans are also for the Muslim, specifically for the Muslim market. Yes.
Sure. I mean, definitely Muslim travel is a very important segment for Hong Kong in the future as well. Because, but honestly, to develop the Muslim segment in Hong Kong actually takes a longer time than we expected. Mainly because but we have started to engage with our partners in Hong Kong for the Muslim promotions. Probably it's like since 2 years ago. So we try to, as the tourism board in Hong Kong, we try to influence and inspire the partners in Hong Kong, including our attraction partners, hotels, retail merchants, restaurants, etc. So that because we wanted to inspire them the importance and the potential of the Muslim travel segment, so that they can actually make some changes in order to accommodate our Muslim friends. And honestly, we have actually 3 different phases. So the phases, as I mentioned, inspire and influence. So that we actually did a lot of like seminars, including the one with you in Hong Kong 2 years ago. So we actually like organized a couple seminars in Hong Kong to show our partners the importance and the potential of the Muslim segment. So the second phase is like doing a lot of groundwork. So I mean, like after like getting these people to educate these partners about the importance of this segment, we try to do a lot of groundwork. We want to show them how we can actually like modify their establishments in order to accommodate the Muslim friends. And that is actually a very long-term, I mean, foundation work that we have to do, to be frank. And we are still doing it. And then phase will be actually like after more of the groundwork has been completed, then we will actually go out and roll a large-scale Muslim promotions in the future. So during this time, during the pandemic, unfortunately, because it has actually slowed down the timing need for the foundation, because, as I mentioned, Hong Kong it's actually quite challenging for the partners in Hong Kong to do a lot of like modification in terms of in terms of
Sure.
within their establishments because of the limited space that they have. Like if you want them to suddenly to change their, their establishment or the premises, it's actually quite challenging because like it's really small. Somehow. So we are trying to see like what other ways that we can actually help to support them in terms of like doing all these like groundwork. So that we can actually better to accommodate our Muslim visitors. So right now we are still in the phase of like doing a lot of groundwork and to foster the foundation. And hopefully we can actually roll out a large scale promotion. For the Muslim friends next year.
That's I think that's going to be good news for the visitors in this part of the world. I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And in fact, actually, like since for the last 1.5 years, and actually, I'm quite happy that we actually already seen more and more Muslim friendly have actually started.
Right. Yeah. And you said you get about 3 million visitors from Southeast Asia last year. Yeah.
Yeah. Before COVID-19, actually, I think every single year we have a pretty regular visitor arrival from Southeast Asia region, about like 3 million visitors,
Right.
which is the second largest region.
Right.
So the total visitor arrival to Hong Kong.
Right. Thanks, Raymond. I think that's good insights on what your plans are. What we see is that Hong Kong is now getting really ready in different fronts, so that when it really opens up. So when it opens up, just to look at a bit there, will we see a different Hong Kong landscape, or what changes are we going to expect in Hong Kong? In terms of course, it's a
Okay.
difficult question. We don't know a lot of things, a lot of unknowns. But is there any thoughts on how tourism will look like?
Sure. I think Hong Kong is the same Hong Kong. I'm sure that we all have to live. With the new norm. So I think when the borders are going to be open later on, so you will see like I think Hong Kong in terms of like definitely the hygiene standard will be different. I think every single partner is now looking at how to raise the bars in terms of like safety and standard. And I'm actually happy to see that Hong Kong is actually adapting a lot of like technologies in terms of like doing all like hygiene measurements. For example, Hong Kong International Airport is actually the first in the world to have like a something called crTALKS, which visitor here can actually go into a enclosed booth for 40-second disinfection process. So, and even the MTR, which is widely used in Hong Kong, they are using robots to clean the premises. And shopping malls, the handrails, a lot of shopping malls have implemented auto disinfected handrails.
Okay. All right. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
So that's actually something. Crucial. In the current situation, and I think it's actually a good move for a lot of partners. So basically, like Hong Kong, is continuing to develop different kind of technology. Targeting the COVID-19 because like everybody's like putting like hygiene, safety, and cleanliness into a very high bar. So this is actually really important for us. And so when the borders are reopened, I think the visitors will actually like will experience all these kind of like hygiene facilities that will actually like give them a better confidence that Hong Kong is a safe destination.
Right. Okay, that's great. I think I have had a couple of other discussions with other tourism boards as well. I think the main thing is about giving visitors the confidence that that it's a safe destination and it's a credible destination. Also, one of the other aspects which I think also Hong Kong has a strength is how good is their healthcare system. Because if something happens, how do you take care of that? And I think that's another area that Hong Kong probably is stronger.
Yeah, that actually implements what I have actually mentioned about like when we roll out the universal testing program, in September, so that we can easily get 1.8 million people to be tested within 14 days. I think that is actually like some kind of like bringing the people a higher confidence about Hong Kong is actually safe now, because like when you get more people to be tested, I think it's actually so much better.
Thank you, Raymond. Thanks for your time. And we are looking forward to go back to Hong Kong. And I personally used to spend a lot of time in Hong Kong before in the 90s. So I would like to go back again.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, and
Thank you.
wish you all the best with all your programs.
You too. Thank you very much for having me again. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Okay.
Well, that's it for today. Thanks for watching CR Talks. In the next episodes, we will be talking to more travel industry stakeholders on how they are overcoming challenges to rebuild the travel industry. So join us on our next episodes. Until then, goodbye.